Hi, this is Lyons here. I have no internet connection here, so I'm just recording this as I travel. So I've got a little bit of goatee beard. Look, I never did that before. It's all grey. I'm getting old. Terrible, isn't it? Really. Anyway, this is my journey through the forest up here. As I come, I could be anywhere really. You know, could be Viet Cong. Could be anywhere. Vietnam. Sri Lanka, Narnia. In fact, this is the nearest thing to Narnia, I think, really, to be honest with you. Yeah, I look distinguished with the beard. George Michael, I look like George Michael, yeah. I could sing, "Wake me up before you go," or "Careless whisper of a good friend. As the music dies, something in your eyes." I know the lyrics, but I can't remember it all the time. Yeah. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty, got no rhythm, but it's easy to pretend. Should've known better to meet a friend. I can't remember it. Am I? Sorry, George. Georgios Mikologoulos. He was a nice guy, actually, George. I met him a few times over the years, early days. He chatted me up, actually, in a bar. Yeah, that's what happens, you know, when you're younger and handsome. Yeah, look at me now. What went wrong? Anyway, I was going to talk about The Bill, actually, you know, a TV show which I worked on many years ago. I started it in '84, I think it was, '83 or '84. It was a 1 hour show then, I think, and I worked with Graham Cole. You know, myself and Graham, we were supporting artists on that first thing. We had contracts. I think it was a walk on 3 or something like that. You know, walk on 2, 3, which means that you're, you know, kind of getting there, I suppose. And then obviously Graham, my dear friend Graham Cole, I love him dearly. A great man, great, honest, caring, kind, compassionate man. A lot of talent. In fact, out of all the people on the TV show The Bill, he's the one everyone remembers. PC Stamp. I mean, I know Chris Ellison and Tosh Lyons, which was Kevin Lloyd. I used to drink with Kevin. What a nice man he was. Sad he died. John Isles, Chris Ellison I mentioned already. But a few have gone on to other things, like Raymond De-Haan. Raymond, great guy, Raymond. Raymond was training at the time to be a stuntman. He then became a stuntman. Now he's a fully fledged, brilliant stuntman. Done Bond stunts on the cars, and he's done so well. You know, really like Raymond. I have to see Raymond soon. Who else is there? Who's done well? Who was on it? I think Alan Austin, my friend Alan, was on it as well briefly. I'm not sure how long for. Daryl Russell Brooke. And Karen, Oscar Peck and Karen, his wife, Quint Boa. Shoot that. I think he's got a company called Shoot That Picture, or Shoot the Film, or Shoot the Duck, or something like that. Paul Ellison, nice Paul. He's a cameraman with Shoot the Picture. It's got a target on it anyway. I can't remember the name. It's age. But yeah. Great people. See, a lot of people start different things and they decide to become actor, or decide to go into acting, assistant directing, writing, producing, directing. And you know, I had a choice of all that stuff, but I never did it. I just did. You know, I just wanted to make money, enjoy myself, and go on holiday. You know, all that stuff. You know, I'm not coughing so much as I did the other day because must have had a cold or something. You know. Here's Derek, a bit tired. Yeah, so well, pretty good. Yeah, looking pretty nice. So yeah, all those people have done so well, and I'm really take my hat off to them. If I had a hat, I'd take a hat off. You know, if I had a cigar, I'd smoke a cigar. Yeah, but there's lots of good people out there. And the film is just from the old school, you know. I call it the old school, you know. You know, we can't turn the clocks back now, which is a shame because it was much better in the early days. I think I mentioned this before, from the after the war, through the late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, up to the 80s, maybe up to the maybe up to about 91 when I left the bill. I left the bill in 91. I did 2 episodes as PC Craig Lovell, but I did some other stuff where I mentioned, you know, I did quite a few episodes actually. Get back to the bill. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. It was a really great show to work on. It was like a family unit, you know. Everyone was really fantastic in it. See, I like, see, because I've got this beard now. Look at this beard, all this. It's like I've finally become a man. I could play Sean Connery now. I could play his got a beard there. I could be Henry Jones. Yes, I could be Henry Jones. Yes, I'm your father. I'm your father, Indy. I know you don't like snakes. You used to play snakes and ladders when you were a little boy and you hated it. Eventually you went off into the wilderness as an archaeologist in my footsteps. That was marvellous, yes. Yes, you know, Sean Connery, you need to do Sean Connery, you can do it a different way. So, well, young Sean Connery, hi, I'm Sean Connery. You know, it's like the accent, he has a slight lisp, you know, so I do Sean as like slightly older because his voice has gone a bit. He's been like that. It's a bit kind of, you know, I'm Sean Connery. I did this one with Sean Connery and Christopher Lambert. You know, I met Chris a few times, you know, over the years, and at convention, but outside in normal life, you know. Great guy. Hi, Derek. How are you? There can only be one Derek. He wrote that on my Highlander Laserdisc. There can only be one Derek. It was actually Adrian Paul from Highlander, actually. Was sitting beside him, we were talking and we were doing stuff, and then Christopher said to Adrian, you know, "Hey, Derek, he's great. Derek's great," you know. And I got on pretty well with Adrian. Did some martial arts with him backstage and at this convention. I did my stuff to him, and he goes, "That's a guy," you know, because you know Adrian is an Englishman, but he has a slight American accent. He said, I can see that you practice martial arts. I can see by your form, your movement. Yeah, I like him, Adrian Paul. Christopher Lambert, it can only be one. Yeah, I worked with him on Greystoke's story Tarzan. I had a part in that. And the story goes that I was on it as a kind of supporting artist, basically, and they you know, I did quite a few scenes on it. And what happened was a guy called Jeffrey. Anyway, he was actually a wardrobe dresser, and he was Peter Sellers' personal wardrobe dresser. And Peter used him on Pink Panther movies. Oh God, Jeffrey! Oh, sorry, he's dead now. Poor old Jeffrey. Is it Jeffrey? Anyway, I'll tell the story. It come back to me later, and I remember. I'm on the movie, and you know, there's maybe 4 of us, and yeah, Jeffrey, say his name's Jeffrey. He comes up to me, he goes, "Oh, Derek, listen," because Jeffrey was gay, you know, that's okay, you know, I can do it. He said, "Oh, Derek," he was very much like, "Oh, Derek, I'll get this done. Oh, God, I'll slap you, give me a slap in the backside here. Oh, look at you, can't get this right. Oh, perfect, look great." And people either loved him or hated him. I loved him very much. Unfortunately, he died of HIV many years later, went a bit off his head. That's what I heard, which is a sad thing. But I kind of was kind of frightened of him, first of all, because he was a very strong personality. And he was great. Anyway, one day, the casting director on Greystoke Story Tarzan was a guy called Noel Davis. And Noel Davis eventually he was actually an actor on the Avengers years ago. Then he became a casting director. He was one of the biggest. He cast. I actually auditioned for Willow as one of the riders, but I couldn't ride a horse at that time properly, and I would have got the part. And I met, in fact, Ron Howard. That's the first time I met Ron Howard. Kathy Silverson knows Ron. Happy days. And so what happened was. he said, you know, Noel Davis, he likes you. And I said, all right, that's nice, okay, you know, I don't mind gay people, you know, it's no problem. And he says, I think he's going to choose you, but they've got to line everyone up, you know, so it doesn't look like it's, you know, kind of, you know, it looks like it's fair, you know. So I'm not given special treatment, basically, but they know what they want. Casting directors, they see someone, he looks good, or who knows why they choose people, but I was perfect, anyway. And I was actually, Noel Davis was the, played King Henry in it. Henry with the beard and the cigar. Not King Henry. King Edward. King Edward. King Edward. Sorry, Henry. That was a different period of time. But it was Greystoke story of Tarzan. And so what I did was what was it I did? Yeah. So I lined up with these other guys, and then Noel came out and looked at me, little wink in his eye. He said, walked along the line, you do. So he chose me, and I should have really technically got a contract for that, like an equity contract, because it was a part. I had a few lines in it, and I was actually around the table with Ralph Richardson and Christopher Lambert and everyone. There was an open scene where actually it was actually almost a 4-hour movie, and it cut it down. Hugh Hudson cut it down, and maybe my bit was cut, but I am seen in some scenes. And what was a bit where King Edward goes hunting, and I have to reload his gun and give it to him, you know, Your Majesty, and all this kind of stuff. My hair kind of short, and kind of special suit they used to wear in those days. And that was great, you know, and so that was it. And at the end of the shoot, which was really good, we were out in the countryside. It was me, Richard Bonehill, the late Richard Bonehill, who is such a great guy. Sadly departed a few years ago now. And he was standing in for Christopher, because, you know, also because he, I think, knew Christopher from Highlander, because, you know, Richard Bonehill was a master fencer, you know, and brilliant martial artist too. And so what happened was, end of shoot, we're in this big barn, and the champagne, last day of shoot, it's a wrap, you know, we're going to the barn, there's all this champagne, and, you know, it's like just a normal barn in the middle of the countryside. There's me, Christopher Lambert, Andi McDowell, a few other actors and crew members, Hugh Hudson. So I just, you know, I just got the champagne and started pouring glasses to Christopher, to Andy. And the corner of my eye, and this is how some fucking directors can be, is one of those. I think there's another guy who's out there who's like that. It was John Frankenheimer. He was a bit of an arse as well. Also, who was the other really terrible person? Michael Winner. Even though I kind of spoke to Michael, he was okay. He could be really nasty to people. So Hugh Hudson, he was like looking at me, corner of his eye, like looking, fucking extra. What's he doing? Drinking champagne with Christopher Lambert and Andy and all that stuff, you know. But we got on really well, you know. We had a lot of laughs, and then he eventually joined us. And I thought, fuck you, Hugh Hudson. Went up to him, poured him a glass of champagne. But I could tell he didn't want me to be around, you know. Yeah, so this is the bullshit with the class system and this system in film sometimes. You know, you can get real arsehole directors, and the poor assistants, the first assistants, have to deal with that shit, you know. I know a few out there like Terry Bamber, who's dealt with a few in the past, you know. Maybe Terry Madden's dealt with some in the past, but you know, they've got to work because you're working for the director. You know, the producers putting pressure on the director and assistant directors to make sure everything goes to schedule. I'm saying American word. So anyway, yeah, so that was great. And then I saw Christopher many years later. I was up in Hampstead and I bumped into him. You know, I was just walking down Hampstead Heath in the evening, going to a bar with my friend Lucas, and he got out of a cab and we started chatting and gave him a hug. Then years later, it's kind of weird how things happen. I'm working at Planet Hollywood in '93. And we had lots of celebrities, you know, Teddy Savalas, all those people. I used to look after them, you know. And Gary Davis, who was a general manager, used to say to me, when people come in, they ignore the managers and they go straight up to Derek Lyons. You know, I had Ken Russell I looked after many times, and he would ask for me, and Paul Gambaccini, who I knew anyway before that, and who else? Mike Lee, and the director, Alison Steadman, his then wife, and many others. You know, list is endless, I suppose. But you know, looked after them. I'm going to get the right light here. That's better. Anyway, so I was at Planet Hollywood, and I was a host there with my good friend David Callister. I forgot to mention him earlier because he did the bill with me, and he's the one who's now a fully fledged actor. He's really good. He does a lot of stage work, and I envy him in some ways because I would like to do that myself too. I'm leaning against this tree. I'm going to hug this tree. Yeah, I like tree. I love trees. I love hugging trees. Anyway, so what happened was, so David, yeah, David Callister went off to become a really great actor, stage actor now, comedy actor. You know, I still want to take the mickey out of him because, you know, he reminded me sometimes of Norman Wisdom. But I love him, David. I love you, David. Kisses. See you soon. Yeah, oh yes, Planet Hollywood. So I was on Planet Hollywood. I knew he was coming in that day, and I set up the table in the room for him. And he came upstairs, and there's all this press and PR people for the film company he was with. And he walks upstairs. It was in the afternoon, actually, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. So he walks up the stairs. He looks straight at me. He says, "Derek, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, Christopher." And we had like a 10-minute chat. And there were, you know, Richard Johnson, there's a guy called Richard Johnson. Richard Johnson. He's a photographer, he does all the celebrities. He was snapping away at me and Christopher and hugging and shaking hands and talking. And shame they didn't film it really, because we had a really good conversation, and he liked being there, and he had to do his handprint that day. And that's when I saw, you know, it was really good. And I said, "How did you know? How did you know Christopher?" I said, "Well, I worked with him many years ago, you know, they just don't realise, you know." Anyway, they were just, you know, all those people who worked in Planet Hollywood, really, they all worked at burger joints and Pizza Hut and Pizza Land, and before, they've never worked in the film business, so they've kind of really, you know, that was it. Another story at Planet Hollywood, actually, I looked after Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it was actually the day of the the day before the opening, and it was Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and who else was there? Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Demi Moore, all of them were there. Oh yeah, Don Johnson was there. Everyone was there. I didn't speak to any of those people, but Robert Earl, who was the owner, in fact, my late uncle Terry was really good friends with Robert Earl Sr., he was a singer, a Jewish guy, and Robert Earl Jr. was the guy who was originally at Hard Rock, and then he set up Planet Hollywood with the producer of 9.5 Weeks. I forget his name at the moment. A really nice chap, actually. So I'm there, and then Robert Earl came up to me because I was quite big then. I mean, I was skinny, but quite fit looking, you know. And Robert Earl said to me, "Derek, would you look after Arnie?" So I looked after Arnie most of the evening, make sure people don't, you know, get near him, and because there's some public there as well. And then I had to escort him out. And there's one of my managers behind me, you know. And there was all this bullshit, you know, don't talk to the stars, don't talk to the celebrities. Oh, fuck you, man, what's wrong with you? I should have gone a bit against them a bit more. So I'm walking down the stairs, and Arnie's behind me, and there's all these screaming people outside, and he walks down right beside me. I looked at him, I said, "Hi, Arnie, nice to meet you." He said, "What's your name?" No, "Hi, Derek, what's your name?" You know, I can't do his voice. I said, "Derek." He said, "Nice to meet you, Derek. Nice to meet you. I'll be back," or something like that, you know. So I went down the stairs, and I went down the stairs, I tapped him back, I said, "I'll see you later, dear. Oh no, oh don't titter." And I patted him on the back, and he went to the limousine. Most people didn't know who Frankie Howard was then, but I did my Frankie. So that was that, and yeah, that was a great time. Planet Hollywood. I was there for 2 years. Looked after many people. Lots of naughty stories. What went on there? Yeah, sex and drugs and rock and roll, man. That was what was about there. I didn't get involved because I'm an angel, you know. Yeah, I'm an angel. I'm a saint, like the saint. You know, a saint. So yeah, hello. Baggy eyes, a bit tired. So, yeah. I've been around a long time actually, but actors and schmactors. Yeah, I'm trying if there was another story I wanted to tell you, and I can't remember now. Stubby K, when I met Stubby K on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he said, "Derek, get yourself an agent." You know, he was a really great guy actually. I said, "I loved you in Cat Ballou," you know. talking to him about Nat King Cole, and because they played the Troubadours on that film. And I love that movie with Jane Fonda. She's a beauty. I love her. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else there is. I will talk another day about Marvin Gaye because I've got a lot of stories to tell. But that's a little bit about movies and all that stuff. And the same, I should have been a stuntman, really. You know, you know, that's the way it is. You know, Terry Mountain, my dear, like surrogate father. Hi, Dad. You know, he had the choice between a stuntman and an actor, and he decided to become an actor. And he could have done both, really, you know, because you could, as a stuntman, do parts. Andy Bradford, for example, was an actor and he became a stuntman. He was in Star Wars as well, and he's a lovely guy. I worked with Alec Baldwin on a thing called Second Nature. And there's a story. Oh yeah, Alec Baldwin. I'll tell you a story about Alec. I got contacted by an old agent in Soho. I can't remember the name of it now, and they said, look, you know, I was working as a swimming teacher coach then. They said, look, you know, there's this Hollywood actor, A-list actor, who wants to use you as a double, you know, driver double, back ahead double, you know, basically a double for this film, but like 6-week, 7-week film. I said, I'm not interested really. I'm not doing the film work anymore. And anyway, I went for auditioning. I went down to Shepperton and saw the assistant director. I can't remember his name now, and the other guy. And I went in my leather jacket, and then they said to me, "Oh, it's Alec Baldwin and his producer. They've seen photographs of you and all that stuff, and some of your history, and they think you'd be brilliant." So I did, and I was on it for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Alec was okay, a bit temperamental, as some of these Hollywood stars are, but he's a really good actor, you know. Some actors are a bit crazy, and I know he's had a lot of drinking problems and stuff. And it was actually at the time when he was splitting up with what's her name? What's her name? The blonde girl. What's her name? The beautiful girl. What was her name? Kim Basinger, yeah. And he had a little daughter, Ireland, you know. And during that time, he was really temperamental. So certain things he couldn't do or wouldn't do. He just threw his coat down one day. So I'm not driving, so I had to do the driving. I had to do all the stunt driving, you know, spinning the car at Heathrow Airport, and which I'm not qualified to do really, but I did it. Driving, the doubling in this beautiful classic 50s Mercedes and this other Japanese car, massive car. I've never driven automatics before. It was very difficult, you know. Raymond De-Haan was on that. They were doing some stunts in the car park, which Alec did those. I did some of the driving there, I think. But then maybe he had another double, proper stunt. It's all about money, you know. I've done so many stunts over the years, you know. Bob Hoskins knocked me down once on Mona Lisa, you know. It was the Irish director who did Company of Wolves, Mona Lisa, what's his name? Neil Jordan. And he came up to me, he said, what's your name? I said, Derek. He said, you know, when Bob runs through with Clark Peters is running behind him, you're walking across, do you mind if he elbows you or knocks you down? I said, yes, okay. I had a leather jacket, all my own clothes on. It's at Brighton Pier. And so every time he would run, and like he's a bulldog. He'd put like Bob Hoskins, massive. He bashed into me. I went, boom! I went right down. Right, no mats, nothing. Right onto concrete. And I did it about 10 times. I got paid very well for that. It was real stunt. They should have already got a stuntman to do it. But I didn't mind doing it. Sorry about that, stuntman, you know. But companies can get away with murder, literally. Another stunt I did, it was actually, I can't remember the name of the film, but it was an assistant director called Terry something. It wasn't Terry Madden, another guy, beard. And I got called, and they wanted me to double this actor in Stockwell, which is like a station. And it was as high as I'm trying to work out here. It was about 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 branches up there, right? There was a house, and there was a gap from about, say, here to almost that tree there, right? Maybe slightly less than that actually. And there was, and what they wanted me to do is with this girl, climb up, get on the roof, put me on the roof, and I had to climb across, climb up this bit of this pipe, onto the roof, go to the roof, hold onto this pipe, stretch my leg across. Now beneath me, down there, was at least 20 foot. I mean, it got to be 15 to 20 foot. Even, you know, 6 foot, you can hurt yourself, you know. And I did it. I did it about 4 or 5 times, and the girl did it as well. She was really, you know, bricking it a bit, but I did it. At the end, then afterwards, the actor, the puffy actor, whoever it was I was doubling, he decided to do it on camera. But they did shoot me off camera. Well, they said they didn't film it, but that's a bollocks. So anyway, I did that, and then we get paid off. In those days, we used to get paid cash in hand. Well, not cash in hand, but we had to pay insurance and stuff and taxes on it. But we get paid cash, and you always ask for it. Sometimes you have delegates, and you know, Barry Holland was a delegate, and many others, Roy Beck.